So he had a dream that he went down on a Sasquatch with a fucking snorkel.
I haven't listened to it.
See, I
I'm
thought
going to listen to it as soon as the news is over.
I I thought you would listen to it. That's why I was curious.
No, I just saw it, and I thought
You
that,
thought
you
you,
know.
you thought that Steve might be proactive, and
Well, you know,
and put it on the show. But hey,
he is in charge of weird and strange news briefs on the show.
But I don't have, time to write up a story about it. I don't have time to listen to it.
so Steve Austin tells a story about fucking a Bigfoot, and Steve drops the ball. And by that I mean Steve Alcorn, not Steve Austin, because Steve Austin obviously had the ball.
You guys got another hour to wait? I can go write up a story real quick. You are recording, aren't you?
It's August 22nd, 2014. Steve's fucking unprepared, and this is your Fortean Slip news.
Unprepared my ass. From the metro.co.uk, there is now a fully functioning restaurant in China that uses robots.
Oh.
Yes. Robots to not only serve dinners, but also to cook up the meals. The restaurant in Kunshan, I think I even pronounced that right, is in the east of the country, has...
Robot cafe food is people!
It has a fleet of over a dozen robots who do everything from greet customers at the door to waiting on tables and cooking up dumplings and stir-fry in the kitchen.
Damn you!
Eatery owner Song Ju-gong told a local newspaper that the robots cost about 40,000 yuan, Y-U-A-N, whatever that is, which is the same as a yearly salary for a human employee, except without the holidays or sick days. They have a limited vocabulary and take 2 hours to charge before they can work a 5-hour shift, but don't worry, Mr. Jude Gang also hires some humans to work in the kitchen, cooking up the dishes that are too complex for the robots. This is actually the third robot cafe in the world, and it pretty much signals the end of the human race.
That's what did it. Those robotic Chinese restaurants, they just killed civilization.
Yes. And from the God almighty, from the
I'm prepared.
from this newspaper website in New York, Syracuse, that's it, syracusenewstimes.com. On August 15th, there was a couple of UFO sightings, apparently. This story is about two interesting and perhaps related UFO sightings on Long Island. The first sighting was about 10 p.m. in North Babylon, New York, in Suffolk County. Harvey, a local resident, was walking up his drive that evening and perchance glanced up and observed 3 red orbs. He tells us that for more than 15 minutes he observed these objects several different times.
Hovering at the tip of the Empire State Building.
Mm-hmm. They hovered, pulsated, moved slowly up and down, and left to right. They eventually faded out.
I did the same thing earlier with a female.
I hear Steve Austin did as well. Harvey says that this is the third time this year that he's observed these objects. He says that these objects have been previously observed by him on April 20th and July 4th this year. July 4th. When asked if the orbs could be Chinese lanterns, Harvey simply replied, "I think not." Within the same hour, 23 miles. I am not prepared at all. Within the same hour, 23 miles to the west in Nassau County, a resident of Westbury, New York, made a similar observation. It was about 10:50 p.m., and D, no last name, had just taken out the trash. While she was outside, she decided to pick some grapes from a vineyard in her yard, from a vine in her yard. And she finished because if she had a vineyard in her yard, she'd have an awfully big yard. As she finished, she glanced upwards between her house and her neighbor's house, looking for the big moon. That's when she noticed 4 disc-shaped orbs hovering
Red Orb Winery
in the sky. I didn't even think grapes were in season yet. All were whitish or very pale, tinted bluish in color, and the discs were traveling in a circular motion and were all evenly spaced. She watched them hovering and rotating for 4 or 5 minutes. She then decided to run into the house to grab her camera, and as you guessed, when she returned moments later, they were
gone. The orbs!
She says she walked around the house and scanned the sky looking for them, but they were nowhere to be found.
Inside her home.
Dee spent the next hour or so calling around, trying to find out if anyone else had seen the objects. She even called the local television station and asked the news desk if anyone else had reported the UFO sighting, and she was told no.
First she called her son, who wouldn't come over. So then she called her daughter to complain about her son, who wouldn't come over. And then...
The story went nowhere.
No, it didn't. It was funnier in my head when I read it the first time. From News Info...
I want you to learn a lesson from this, Steve.
I should have went with the story that you gave me.
Maybe.
UFO stories that take place in New York City.
Well, I think we'll have better luck with this particular story. Newsinfo.inquirer.net. A U.S. morgue worker admits to having sex with over 100 dead women.
Hey, he's an overachiever.
Already convicted in the past.
Was this like one huge gangbang, or were they separate?
I believe somewhere in the story it'll tell us.
Okay.
Already convicted in the past, and an Ohio morgue attendant has admitted to having sex with over 100 corpses. The Huffington Post reported that Kenneth Douglas, the 60-year-old self-confessed necrophilic, has admitted to have had intercourse.
Hey, no, it's a necrophiliac.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But it says necrophilic in the story.
Oh,
it doesn't say EAC.
Oh, God.
If it's something me and Chris know, it's necrophiliism.
Well, speak for yourself.
You corrected him first.
All right.
Anyway.
I may have read a couple of stories, for a
book
I was writing.
A guy confesses that he likes to have sex with dead people, and they give him a job in a morgue.
True, that is weird. He had intercourse with women's corpses, most of which were being stored for autopsy, from 1979 all the way up until 1999.
And none of the autopsy reports showed that these women had been raped post-mortem.
Actually, in 1991...
He just looked at the coroner and he was like, hey, don't take a look at the vagina.
Yeah. Belly button up.
In 1991, he was convicted of gross corpse abuse when he admitted to having sex with a 19-year-old woman's nearly decapitated body. He was traced...
When I think hot, I think a 19-year-old's, almost decapitated body.
He was traced when his semen was found in a 2008 autopsy when the woman's killer denied raping her. I would just get on top of them and pull my pants down, Hamilton was quoted as saying in the deposition.
It's pretty easy, they're dead. I mean, this is horrible.
The county is now being sued by the families of 3 of the victims, who said the morgue director failed recklessly and wantonly to supervise Douglas. You think? Their case is
semen turned up inside of a corpse. and they let him keep his job.
Okay, all right. Wait a minute. I don't want to have to bring it up again, but dear Zachary.
It's jacked up.
Fucking shitty shit happens.
Their case is strengthened by Douglas's wife, who testified in the deposition, saying that she tried warning the morgue of her husband's actions.
He confessed. What more strength do you need to the case?
But was told to stop calling. The county said that it should not be held liable, arguing that the cases involved unknown criminal acts of an employee. Chris, didn't you have something to add to the end of that story?
Oh yeah, I had heard that his fucking wife, I guess, heard every time she would like pick him up from work or when he would come home from work, she said that when she was like calling into the authorities, she was telling him that like he was smelling of sex. Like, and they had told her to stop calling. I think that's fucking hilarious.
Ring, ring, quit bothering us.
Ring, ring. My husband's having sex with the corpses in your morgue.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, fellas, that is the Fortean Slip news number, whatever it is.
Yes. And the Steve Austin story is real. Well, not real. It's real that he told such a story. He didn't have sex with a Sasquatch. In his dream, I guess.
Maybe he did, and he's just calling it a dream.
I don't know. I think it's fucking pretty odd that Stone Cold fucking Steve Austin is dreaming about going down on a Bigfoot.
I mean, was it like Patty? I mean, did she look like that, or was she like a hot Bigfoot?
Hey, you got me.
A hot
Patty
Bigfoot?
wasn't very hot.
Who knows?